as a foundation of what health examples from comparative medicines at Udayana University. And then we're moving on to the optional workshop that held by Wildlife Conservation Society and Dr. Harry from Gajah Mada University. And then we have GA4 that continued with IVSA Study Committee workshop at Udayana University also. And then we're heading to the hotel to have a dinner and continue with silent auction. At the day 4, we're start our day with the GA5 and 6 at the Udayana University, and we're having an EO meeting, and the delegates that are not in the EO meeting, we're having a traditional dance workshop in the Lusa Hotel. And then we have a dinner and a light options at the hotel that we're staying at the Lusa Hotel. And in the day 5, we start our day to buy a hand gift at Krishna Olawat, and then we're moving on to have a lunch, also have a visit at Kiwika or the Kencana, the highest human statue that I already stated before, and then we're having a dinner, and then transporting to the Kecak place or the Kecak dance place. There is Pura Uluwatu. So in the Pura, we're visiting the Pura, also having Kecak dance performance there. Next. On the day 6, having an optional lecture 1, and in this day, because of the weather situations, we're deciding to move the venue that closer to our hotel that we're staying. So in the first optional lecture, we're having poultry, wildlife, also companion animal theme, and then in the second optional lecture, we're having turtle theme that helped by Dr. Idina Athena, one of the turtle specialists in Indonesia, also Dr. Aditya in the turtle management techniques and practices in turtle necropsy. And then we're moving on to the J7 at the same venue as the optional lecture, and then we're preparing for the formal dinner, and then having a formal dinner at Tuntung Hotel Kuta that also close to our hotel that we stay. At the day 7, we're having our last GA, and then we're having a beach visit at Melasti Beach, and then we have the dinner at the local restaurant, and then we're heading to our hotel, preparing also having white shirt party at the Nusa Hotel. And at the last day, we're having our last breakfast together, and also all delegates are ready to departure to their representative country, also to the post-symposiums. Next slide. Moving on to the budgeting. So we have several incomes for the 72nd IVSA symposiums. There are sponsorships, also delegates and officials tickets. In the total of income is 34,901.15 euros, including CF tax. Next slide. For the outgoing, the first department is the transportation and accommodation that has total outgoing of 15,371.56 euros. And then the publications, media, and documentations department or BPM department that has total outgoing of 437.09 euros. And then we have the sponsorship department that has total outgoing of 199.9 euros. And then the future department that has total outgoing of 15 euros. And then the secondary department that has total outgoing of 19.14 euros. Next. And the itinerary department that has total outgoing of 4,891.52 euros. And then the delegations affair department that has total outgoing of 1,319.58 euros. And then the last department is consumptions and catering with the total outgoing amount of 7,164.46 euros. Next one. So the summary of the outgoing for the symposiums is 31,608.85 euros, including DCF tax expenses. Next. So this is the post-symposiums budgeting summary. So we have the incomes for the post-symposiums from delegates and official tickets in the total amount of 9,006 Also, the symposiums accruing total in the amount of 1,232.21 euro. So, in the symposium summary of the budgeting, we're facing a deficit in the amount of 632.21 euros. Next. So this is the summary of the symposiums and post-symposiums budgeting, and the symposiums were having a profit in the amount of 3,294.3 euros. Meanwhile, the post-symposium were facing a deficit in the amount of 652.21 euros. So in the end, because of the post-symposium deficit, we're taking some of the money from the symposium's profit to cover it. So in the end, we're having 2,672.09 euros that we're giving it to our student associations or IVSA Indonesia to pay our membership fee fund, also to support their future IVSA Indonesia events. Next slide. This is some of our sponsors that are Royal Marine, Wildlife Conservation Society, Peramza, Diari, GIP, RPD, and Alharma, Food Institute, Sanbe, Batco, Bagian Peka, and some of the animal clinics in Indonesia. Next slide. Thank you, terima kasih, and matur suwun.
Raja Saidi, IVSA Morocco, November 71. I move to approve the final report of the 76th IVSA Symposium in Indonesia.
Is there any discussion regarding this? Any objection? Seeing none, the final report is approved. We are moving on with the next topic, which is presentation of the 73rd IVSA Symposium in Morocco, which is going to be presented by Felix.
Okay, Felix Metzger, IVSA Encyclopedia number 37. I would like to present you the presentation of the 37th Symposium in Morocco. Alright, and here's the plan. We will get some insight about Morocco and IVSA Morocco, veterinary education in Morocco, some things that you need to know before applying in terms of the symposium, the itinerary, streams and optional activities, post-symposium, and last but not least, the budget. A brief insight of Morocco. The constitution, Morocco is a Muslim democratic and constitutional monarchy, and Rabat is its capital. Regarding the demography, Morocco has a population of around 39 million inhabitants. The currency is Moroccan dirham, and 1 euro equals 11.2 Moroccan dirhams. Spoken language, due to the mixture of cultures, Moroccans mainly speak Darija, which is an Arabic dialect, Arabic and Amazigh. English and French are also widely spoken, especially in touristy areas. Here you can see where Morocco is sitting in the world and the countries that have a visa-free access to Morocco. Insurance and health requirements, no particular vaccines or medication needed to enter the country as far as tropical diseases go. Regarding the event, rabies and tetanus shots will be needed, as well as travel and medical insurance. A proof of travel and medical insurance will need to be provided by the delegates on arrival. IVSA Morocco itself was established on March 22, 2016 at the Hassan II Institute of Agronomy and Veterinary Medicine. Since its inception, IVSA Morocco has organized several events at both national and international levels. Veterinary education in Morocco. Morocco only has one veterinary school located in Rabat, the capital city. The Institut Agronomique et Vétérinaire is the second multidisciplinary institute that includes agronomical, topography, and food industry studies, including veterinary studies. And it was founded in 1967 by Royal Dehir Decree. Here are some pictures of the institute. About the symposium. The duration will be 7 nights and 8 days from January 18th to January 25th of 2025. The number of delegates will be 100 delegates. Delegates fees will be 370 euros plus 8% taxes. And the theme is the expanded scope of veterinary medicine. Let's talk about the itinerary. There will be 7.5 lecture hours, 24 hours and 50 minutes of GA, workshops for lectures, cultural touristic activities, and night parties. So on the first day, we have the arrivals and admissions, transportation to university, and then we will have a welcome dinner and some icebreakers. On Sunday, we'll start with the breakfast, some transportation, then we will have the opening ceremony, followed by GA1 and lunch. We will continue with GA2 and internationalist dance. After that, we will have dinner and a free evening so people can go to pubs. On Monday, we will have breakfast at 7:15 until 8:30. Then we will have the city tour, some lunch, and after that, we will have GA3, followed by the dinner. In the evening, we will have the development fund sign-in auction. On Tuesday, there's breakfast, then transportation. We will have the streams, which equals workshops. We have GA4, and after that, dinner and cultural evening. On Wednesday, we'll start with breakfast again, through corporate transportation to GA5, a coffee break, lectures, lunch, GA6, dinner, and the development fund live auction. On Thursday, we will start with breakfast, followed by optional activities, lunch, lecture, the coffee break, GA7, and the EO meeting. After that, you will get some free time, and we will go to the dinner venue, so the formal dinner. And Friday, we have breakfast, transportation to our workshops, lunch, our last GA, some free time, so we can do some final souvenir shopping, dinner, and the white t-shirt party. And on Saturday, we will have the departures. Themes, we have poetry, Benjamin, industry, we have equine, Haras Morak, reproduction aspects and horses, insemination center, Kenitra, process of gathering and first fertilizing cattle. Then stream 4, bone tapping, the sewer butt with the training of Maya the elephant, just to state it out here clear. The presentation sadly was not updated in time, this part happened. And number 5, equine and equine clinic, steps of a lameness exam. Lectures, all the benefits we can extract from camels, career opportunities in veterinary medicine, diet and race horses and metabolic diseases, and environmental and wildlife veterinary medicine. We now talk about the accommodation. We will stay in hotels, 2 in total, Hotel Berlin and Hotel Capitol. Some pictures as well. And the optional activities, there will be a free activity, which is the Museum of Islamic Culture. Besides that, you can visit either the Mosque Hassan in Casablanca, the Zoological Park in Rabat City, or the Forest Hilton Picnic. You can also do the Forest Hilton Picnic, which is also free. Then the post-symposium will go from Marrakesh to Tel Amarna to Merzouga. Here are some impressions by Marrakesh. And here in Merzouga. Embark on a journey of hospitality as you include in our one-of-a-kind catering. The Moroccan cuisine has gained renown for its abundant and anticipated tastes, fragrant spices, incorporation of fresh produce, and a fusion of diverse cultural influences from Berber, Arab, Andalusian, and Mediterranean traditions. Let's talk about budget. Here you can see the income. We will have a delegates fee of 370 euros and expected number of 82 delegates. We will have 2 reduced fee spots and an official fee, the official fee as well. And here you can see the conversion rate. So €1 is 10 0.82. No? Then outgoing, we have the accommodation itself, we have all the food that needs to be provided, transportation, which food to use buses, the formal dinner that will need food, sound system, and the place itself, and some logistics like the badges, fees for the OC, certificates, banner, and some icebreaker material, and the central fund fee. For the optional activities, you can see all the income that comes, so they put in the number of delegates they're expecting to sign up for the optional activities, and this fits to the outgoing. Yeah. And in summary, we have total outgoing of 38,792 euros, considering unexpected expenses of 10%, and an income of 39,057 euros. So we have a difference of 264 euros. Thank you very much. Habibi, come to Morocco.
And then, yeah, it did not work.
Clara, I was saying Slovenia number 6. What are the dates for the post-symposium?
What are the dates of the post-symposium events to answer?
It will be from the 20. It will be from the 25th to the 29th of January.
Thank you. I have a second question. Okay. There's 2 hotels. Does anyone know how far apart they are?
How far are the 2 hotels?
They are Felix Metzger, IVSA Expo, number 47, and they are 2 to 4 minutes apart by foot.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Peter.
Peter Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, bid number 16. How will the symposium take into account the security of LGBTQIA plus delegates? Thank you.
Hajar.
As I said, IVSA Morocco, bidding number 71. According to Moroccan law, it is illegal to show any signs in public of being part of the LGBTQ plus community. So the only way for delegates to be safe is to try to not show any publicly anything that would lead to people think of them as belonging to the community. I'm really sorry I'm having to discuss this here, but this is Moroccan law.
Anybody else? Seeing none, thank you very much. The chair will now entertain a motion to untable the topic 18 GA resolution events inclusivity.
I'll just say that IVSA Morocco, bidding number 71, I saw.
Any discussion? Any objection? Okay, let's go to the topic. Here it is. start.
As I said, yeah, yes, and also to the number 71. So considering all the discussion we had during the previous GAs about how we would like to proceed in order to ensure that we have more inclusive events in the future, and considering all the points that were discussed during the GA and the different opinions that were heard, the Events Inclusivity Task Force worked on this resolution. I would like to move to approve it.
Any discussion?
As I said, IVSA Morocco within number 71. So if you, like, in this new resolution, we have 5 different points, and we will be discussing each point separately in order to make any necessary amendments, and then we will have, and then we will move to do the whole, to approve the whole resolution. So I would like to move to consider the resolution by paragraphs.
Okay, any discussion? Any objection? We are considering we are going to consider them by paragraph. So we are going to first paragraph, which is this one. Do you want to read that? Jack, do you want to explain it, please?
As I said, the IVSA Morocco within number 71. So a concern that we,
Parliamentarian has something to say. This is a secondary motion. It was checked out.
as I said, the IVSA Morocco within number 71. So the first point we are discussing now will be the organization of an extraordinary General Assembly. Usually we have 2 GAs each year, with the possibility of having extraordinary GAs in which only topics that are already brought to discussion are discussed. So it's only a session discussing a particular topic. And for it to be organized, active member organizations need to request it from the president of IVSA. So in this resolution, what we are proposing is that at the beginning of the term, the MOD would we will have talks with different MOs, and we will have a form to collect whether they would like to have this extraordinary GA or not. And if we are having 2/3 of MOs requesting the extraordinary GA, we will be having the MOD sending the request on behalf of the MOs, and then this extraordinary General Assembly will be organized, in which only the topic of moving to an online proposal will be discussed, since one of the concerns that was raised when we were discussing it during our GAs was the fact that the MOs, what are the opinions of the MOs are not here, and that we need to give them also a voice to participate in this decision.
Okay, Michelle.
Michelle Brenneman, IVSA USA, bidding number 45, with the concern stated that we want to have this extraordinary assembly to include more MOs in the vote. Is there any provision that could be made to include MOs that aren't considered active, so candidate MOs?
As I said, IVSA Morocco, bidding number 71. According to our bylaws, in order to request an extraordinary general session, we need to have a general assembly. We need to have 2/3 of active MOs. So for the request to be made and then for the extraordinary general assembly to be organized, we need to have this request from 2/3 of active MOs. However, all the MOs will be able to attend the extraordinary general assembly, and they will all be able to participate in the discussion, but only the MOs will have the right to vote.
Okay. Felix, sorry.
Felix Metzger, IVSA X, company number 37. Regarding the first paragraph, I have the big concern how this could affect the mental health of the new officials. The timeline for the first paragraph to create all this prior to Morocco is a very, very tight timeline. Also, an extraordinary session. So, as far as I know, currently none of the current officials and recently previous officials have an idea if this ever happened. So organizing this is a big effort, also to prepare all the MOs to be aware and to think about what was discussed here, to read through the minutes, to make sure they are aware of the discussion. This is a lot of work that will all be done on this, and all of this must be done on the back of the new officials in a very tight timeline during the handover period, during the creation of regional teams, committee teams, and so on. So I'm very concerned about workload, since we already consider that 2 events a year is too much, and now we want to add a third one.
Okay.
I just ready, IVSA Morocco with the number 71. I understand all the concerns that were brought by the previous speaker, because of course this is an extra organization. However, it will be, since it's an extraordinary General Assembly, it will be online and it is only treating one topic of discussion, so it's not a big agenda as we have during the regular GAs we are having each year. I understand also the fact that it is coinciding with the beginning of the year, in the creation of the regional teams as well as the committee teams and everything. We can discuss a proper timeline for it if there is any suggestions regarding it. However, it is really important that we are having this extraordinary GA next term because this topic has been ongoing within IVSA. We have been discussing improving inclusivity since Denmark. So since this is 1 year from now, and we need to be able to make proper discussions. So I do believe that we need to have this extraordinary GA organized next term, so we can finally be able to make a proper change that is taking into consideration all of our animals.
Okay, I will just remind you that we are not in this first part. So, for example, if you want to amend the part, that is also possible. Yes, Peter.
Peter Nicholas, IVSA Denmark, number 16. Point of information. Usually,
Oh, you break first, that are the other one.
okay, we'll try again. As far as I've understood, usually it is up to a single MO who moves to have an SGA to reach out to all other MOs and gather this 2/3 majority for the SGA. What is the argument for having the executive committee do it here, especially considering how much we have already talked about the major workload that is applied to them, especially as the previous speaker argued, on top of transition period, starting a new school year, all of these things. Thank you.
Okay.
As I said, IVSA Morocco with the number 71. According to our bylaws, we need to have 2/3 of active MOs requesting the extraordinary GA. However, there is no clear choice on how this can be done. So if we are doing it this way, this is not against our bylaws, and it is basically just us agreeing that we need to make this a priority for next year, and that we are going to work with the MOs to give them the opportunity to talk about this topic, and then they are making their choice on whether they are wanting to have the extraordinary GA or not.
Oh, Felix.
Okay, Felix Metzger, IVSA Germany, bidding number 37. I just want to comment on the topic of making this a priority within the next term. After the discussion we had, I think it's obvious and everybody is aware that this topic is a priority, which is why also the SPC, which we approved, is tackling this topic with the event strategy task force and other objectives to make sure that we face this problem and that we find a solution. However, doing this prior to Morocco and putting that much pressure on the new officials may not give us enough time to actually prepare a proposal that is respecting all MOs that cannot be MOs who voted against the proposal. Make sure that we make something better and not just something.
one, or I think Greta, sorry, Greta had her hand. Go ahead.
Mr. IVSA Norway, heading number 7. I also have a concern about the one. I've been in the Europe team, and we try to reach out to every MO in our region. That's a lot more than 1 month within our region. So to reach out to every MO in the global organization is going to take a lot more than 1 month. And the second thing I wanted to ask about was that was one more thing, but I forgot it right now.
Hajar Seydi, IVSA Morocco, bidding number 71. I move to amend the first point and make the extraordinary, whole thing of organizing the extraordinary general session happen after the symposium. So in the second half of the term next year.
Second. So, just a second, I will try to make it look how we should want it. Okay, why it says special general assembly? Because we will not have Congress, we'll have something similar to it, but it's going to be called special general assembly. That's why the word is different. Hope that's understandable. So, is there any discussion on this amendment? Any objection? Seeing none, so this is accepted. Oh, sorry, Isha.
IVSA India bidding number 38. Why does the Exco feel the need to, I would like to ask the chair, why the Exco feels the need to have this amendment right now instead of, since it's after Morocco, instead of discussing it in Morocco and working towards other and better alternatives instead of rushing into this?
Okay, I can just explain it because it's a technical part. Because based on so Events Inclusivity Task Force made a proposal. Based on a proposal, they are proposing this resolution, so the GA here agrees upon it. That's basically it. It can be done at any event, but that's what they want. If GA decides that they do not want to have a resolution and do not want to talk about events inclusivity in general, how we want to move forward with the events, we do not need to have it, and we just forget events inclusivity existed, and that's it. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so I'm back to the discussion. So to repeat, the motion on the floor is to amend the first paragraph as it's written right now on the screen. So we are striking out the 73rd IVSA Symposium because based on the concerns, it's too early, and we are adding the Special and General Assembly 2025, meaning basically that until the end of next term, the GA agrees that they want to have an extraordinary General Assembly. So, is there any discussion regarding this? So we're just talking about the amendment at the moment.
Aren't you aware that objection and
Yeah, but I was interrupted by Ishan. He raised his hand. So, is there any discussion? Yes, Peter.
Peter Emil Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, bidding number 16. It's mostly a point of information. I just wanted to be sure whether the Special General Assembly is the Congress that would be held next summer.
Exactly. So,
Thank you.
as I mentioned, we cannot call it Congress, because it's not. It is Junta Session General Assembly. Okay. Any objection? Seeing none, this was amended. Okay, this is how it is. So right now, the motion on the floor is to discuss point one. Is there any discussion regarding, yes, Karina?
IVSA Germany, meeting number 9, as there was stated by Alexander Secretary that the September won't be enough time. I move to amend the first paragraph, striking out the in front of September and say starting from September instead. So they can, so I agree that the accessibility should have priority, but like it's not doable within a month, so.
You need a motion. So what, you need, so now you need somebody to second it? Second. Okay, now any discussion, and now you can talk first about why you want to do that.
Sorry, I may have said that first. So I think that would make sense because that still would give inclusivity priority, but giving the new team more time to get their work done. And
Okay, the motion on the floor is this, so to amend the first part, that instead of stating, Expo will contact IVSA member organizations in September to starting from. Okay, Susanna.
Sala Salvatore, IVSA Exco, meeting number 90. I just want to remind the OGA that, first of all, when we're discussing, not everything's a point of information. Point of information is just one straightforward question, like, what does executive committee mean? But if the question is more complex, it's not a point of information anymore. Second, do not mention names and talk
Sorry,
their.
I don't need to address them. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, reminder to address the chair and not people, especially not mentioning names. And lastly, state your name and your handle and stay within 2 minutes.
Okay, so we are back at discussion on the motion on the floor, which is to amend the text as it's written right now. Is there any discussion regarding this? Yes, Karina? Okay, any objection to this? So this has been also approved, so the text now looks like this. Okay, we are back to discussing the first paragraph. Any discussion on that? Corina?
IVSA Germany, meeting number 9. I have a question regarding the lower part of this, after the, if at least 2/3 of the actors amount request session, the member organization will formally submit this request. Does that mean that as soon as the 2/3 are reached, it has to do that immediately?
As I said, IVSA Morocco, meeting number 71. So as soon as there is the 2/3 majority, the MOD will be sending the request on behalf of the president, and then there is the specific timeline, which is that the announcement shall be made no later than 30 days after the request, and that it needs to happen 30 days, at least 30 days after the announcement. Is it clear or is there some confusion here?
Any other? Okay. Corina, is direct comment? Okay, go.
Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
You need to introduce
Oh,
yourself,
sorry.
sorry.
IVSA Germany, meeting number 9. Thank you. That was very helpful. I think that there are also there is no specific timeline for the request, correct? The timeline starts after the request. Okay. So because of the given points about the timeline, I think it would also help to give the MOD the chance to request this at a given time that makes sense for them instead of
just to clarify. Uh, you would like to amend your amendment? Is that what you're saying? Oh, this part. Yeah, this part cannot be amended because that is copied from our bylaws. That's how it's stated in our bylaws. Yeah, so this part is based on our bylaws fully, so we cannot, yeah. Hajar?
As I said, yeah, IVSA Morocco within number 71. I think what can be done is mentioning a deadline for when the MOD is gonna make the request instead of leaving it at least like having just a specific time for it. Because since we are planning to do it using a form, we can already have in the beginning saying that the form is open from a specific date to a specific date, and then at that date we are checking if we are having the 2/3. If we are having then the request is being done right now. So we can add this.
Susanna?
Susanna Salvatore, IVSA bidding number 90. I personally do not think this is very fair because at any moment and any time, 2/3 of the active MOs can ask for a extraordinary general assembly. So we cannot put a limit against our bylaws. That's, yeah.
Peter?
Peter V. Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, bidding number 16. I have a question regarding the, oh shit, sorry, it's gone. Maybe it can come back, sorry.
Okay. Anybody else? Ishan?
Ishanacharya, IVSA, building number 38. I would like to agree with the previous speaker's comments on the workload of the officials. Yes, even if we postpone it beyond Morocco, the workload will still be the same because there will be 3 general assemblies in the year as opposed to 2. And as has been highlighted in the EIT previously, there have concerns about the workload of the officials, so this would increase that. Other than that, I would like to say that when we rejected the proposal by the EIT previously, most of the MOs from the DF countries unanimously voiced their concerns against this. Also, in addition, we unanimously voted SPC in, and that the SPC.
Okay.
Susanna Salvatore, IVSA bidding number 90. What we're discussing now is a motion that is on the floor and is to approve the first paragraph of this GA resolution. So we cannot go outside of this topic. Thank you.
Peter?
Peter, IVSA Denmark, bidding number 16. Now I remember my question. Sorry. It is regarding the at least 2/3 majority required. Will non-responsive MOs be counted as not wanting? This will may not be counted because it does say of the active MO. Like, how does this work?
I can answer this because that's based on our bylaws. Active member organizations are organizations who fulfill 2 first requirements that are listed in the list of the requirements to be an MO in member organization duties. First one is to have president and exchange officer and in general national board communicated with IVSA global officials, and the second one is to pay their fee. So only these member organizations that are considered active member organizations will be considered in this 2/3 vote or how do you say it? Request. Yeah. Peter?
Peter Nicholas, Leipzig, Denmark, meeting number 16. It is more a question of after the mail has been sent out, every active MO has been asked, but only a certain number of active MOs may respond. Those not responding, how will these be counted?
As I said, the IVSA Morocco being number one. So since we need MOs to say that they are requesting it, MOs that are not responding are considered as MOs that are not requested to have the extraordinary general assembly.
Okay, we are still at the first point. Any other discussion regarding the first point? Any objection? Oh, sorry, Pendra?
Upendra Chauhan, Nepal, reading number 193. I just have my personal perspective. Being from a DF country myself, I have seen many concerns of many AMOs not able to participate in such a global event. But I have a concern in one thing that the resolution is saying only for the focusing the online thing. So my saying is that why don't we prefer the amendment for the both hybrid events, because we don't know the consequences. We haven't foreseen the what happens when we move to the online part.
There is no mention about the which proposal we're talking about. This is reminder. So we're talking about only this first point. And the first point, what we are doing is we want to, the next expo, to contact active MOs starting from September, so sometime in the term, and organize an extraordinary session, which will take place at some point from beginning of September to SGA, well, in July or August or whenever it is. So that is what we are discussing right now. Do we want this extraordinary session organized or not? And then we have second and third and all the other points in which you can express your concerns, want to add some other things, that's fine. And that's why we're doing paragraph by paragraph, so it's structured. Okay, so I'm going back to this part. Is there any discussion regarding this first part? Jacopo?
Yeah, completely. I say at the beginning, number 34. I was wondering regarding the time limit we put starting from September. I was wondering if it could be possible also put a time limit for the end of the recruitment, just not to arrive to the next occasion, as like we are now still discussing the that was presented actually last year, so just to have a stricter time limit to ensure the, a better work.
I can answer this because it's written here. The time limits would be Special General Assembly 2025. So there is a time limit that it needs to happen during the next time. Okay, Peter.
Point of information to the chair, Peter Nicholas, Leipzig, Denmark, meeting number 16. Point of information to the chair, would the time limit specifically be a month before the Special General Assembly 2025 due to the fact that it needs to be, that like there needs to be a time, or did I misunderstand something?
So, if I got this right, you think that the time limit would be a month, the previous speaker thinks that time limit would be a month prior to the Special General Assembly has happened, right? No, so as it says, so we have 2/3 active MOs requesting this. After they requested this, EXCO or MOD has 30 days to announce this request. So he has 30 days to say, I received this request. So he has 30 days to acknowledge the request and make it to the president. Okay. Sorry. So once we have 2/3, the member organization director needs to formally submit this to president. And then that should happen no later 30 days than 30 days after the request. And this shall convene at least 30 days after the announcement. So basically, it can happen a week before SGA. The announcement needs to be a month before that, if that makes sense. Susanna.
Sara Salvadori, IVSA Exco, meeting number 90. I think that what the previous speaker was trying to say, and I also do agree, is that there is no specific timeline of how, like that prior does not specify how many days or months prior to the special general assembly the extraordinary general assembly would have to take place.
Yes, that is correct. So there is no, yes, Ishan.
Ishanacharya IVSA India, building number 38. I might have misheard, I might be asking this question again because I might have misheard something that was asked and answered before. But it's, according to the bylaws, 2/3 of the MOs have to request this General Assembly. And how can the executive committee ask the MOs, like how can the MOD ask the MOs whether they are requesting? A request should mean that the MOs come forward and tell the executive committee that yes, we are requesting such and such. How can the MOD ask them to request it? I don't think that is according to the bylaws.
Yes, Hajar, you can.
Hajar Saidia, IVSA Morocco, meeting number 71. Doing it this way is not against our bylaws. And basically, the point is just making, because we don't have all the active MOs here. Because if we had all the active MOs here, or 2/3 of the active MOs, we could have done the request here. But since we're not having it, we're just making all the MOs aware of what would be the plan for us to go for in order to have this extraordinary general assembly in which this topic will be discussed, because it was raised that we need all the active MOs to be here, not only the active, but also the other ones, to participate in the discussion, because their voices are also important. The way we are doing it like this is not against the bylaws, and it is just a way for us to move forward, because if we had here 2/3 of active MOs, we could have done it, the official request right now in SGA. Does this answer the question?
Ishan?
Ishanacharya IVSA India, building number 38. I would just like to ask the chair whether this is an actual interpretation of the actual bylaw, or interpretation of the bylaws, because from what I hear, the MOs themselves are not requesting it, but the executive committee and the MOD is asking them to request it.
Okay, I can answer this question. It is not even, nothing about the way it should be requested or not requested is in our bylaws. It says that it should be requested by the member organizations. In what is written here, executive committee would basically inform member organization about this possibility, and then they decide if they either take it or not. That's basically it. It just help them be aware.
Ishanacharya IVSA India, building number 38. But then, how would we proceed with it? Like, would we send them a Google form and then they say yes and we request, or would they themselves send a mail to IVSA Expo, IVSA MOD, saying we request this, Yeah.
That is an executive committee to decide how they want to proceed with this. Ishan?
Ishancharya, India bill number 38. So after the MOD makes them aware about this possibility, if they do not respond with an email or whatever the MOD has decided, then like as the previous delegate mentioned, it would be counted as not requesting.
Yes. Yeah, can we, I will move. Susanna?
Susanna Salvatori, IVSA EXCO meeting number 90. I've heard some concerns regarding the timeline, especially of having the Special General Assembly, when to have it. No, actually, sorry, of having the Extraordinary General Assembly prior to the Special General Assembly. Therefore, to address this concern, that is also my concern, I move to amend the point 1 so that it states at least 2 months prior to the Special General Assembly 2025.
The motion on the floor is to add at least 2 months prior to the Special General Assembly 2025. Is there any discussion regarding this? Yes, Corina.
Grüne Wagner, IVSA Germany, bidding number 9. I don't think that this is needed as like that is a given timeline within a year. We have stated that they are starting from September contacting the members, and there are, especially in a student organization, there are always unforeseen circumstances on the timeline and so on. And I think that puts unnecessary pressure on our new exco.
Peter.
Peter Emil Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, being number 16. To adjust to the previous speaker, I think the opposite. I think this would actually make quite a lot of sense, especially while we are considering that we want MOs that are not usually present at these things to join this. I think if it's moved too close to the SGA of summer 2025, it will be hard for certain MOs because they'll be either planning this, participating in this, especially because if we're just before the SGA, we'll be in the middle of the summer break for a lot of different schools, so it'll be a hard time attending, I think, the SGA or extraordinary online. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Corina.
Grüne Wagner, IVSA Germany, bidding number 9. Regarding the previous speaker's point, like not adding it doesn't mean it does not happen 2 months before. So it makes absolutely sense to make it before, but I think it would help the coming executive committee to leave it open in case there are any unforeseen circumstances happening and this takes longer than expected.
Michelle?
Michelle Bergman, IVSA USA, bidding number 45. I would like to agree with the previous speaker and say that I don't believe that there is a need to have a time limit leading up to the Special General Assembly. In the United States, our exam season typically ends in late May, and many students have time off, and so it would be nice to have the flexibility to be able to have our extraordinary assembly late if that is required. Obviously, ideally, I agree that it would be better to have it prior to that point, but having the flexibility would be helpful.
Susanna?
Sono Salvatori, IVSA meeting number 90, to address some of the concerns raised by all the previous speakers. 2 months prior to the Special General Assembly would mean not the beginning of the term, actually the end of it, or at least the second half of it. So I don't see why this would put this much of a pressure on the future EXCO. Secondly, I do see the point of adding this part to this GA resolution, to this point of the GA resolution, because otherwise I'm afraid that it's going to be too close to the Special General Assembly, not giving time, not to the task force, to people in general, like delegates that are having that are deciding that do need to decide what to vote, and also to EXCO, because EXCO is going to prepare the whole General Assembly in the special General Assembly, and they need to take into account what has been said 2 months prior by the extraordinary General Assembly. Therefore, I think it's necessary, not just a good thing, to add at least 2 months. Then, if the GA doesn't agree on 2 months, we can definitely, I think that all of us can amend these amendment, and instead of putting 2 months, maybe putting other specific dates, like other specific months. Yeah, that's all.
Peter.
Peter Pedersen, IVC Denmark, meeting number 16. I think there's also a point to be made in the fact that if the two-thirds majority cannot be reached within the set time frame of 2 months before the SGA, maybe the support isn't there. I do recognize that at this point, very previous speaker did address that it took quite a long time just within Europe to reach this. And I do recognize the amount of pressure that we are putting on the next EXCO, but I do think we do only have a set time frame and a set term. So I think if it can't be reached within this time, we need to find another solution to it.
Susanna.
Sono Salvatori, IVSA EXCO meeting number 90. I would like to know from the task force how many animals have replied to their surveys or have answered their emails, because these I'm afraid that this lack of responsiveness on behalf of the animal is not a real concern.
Zassedi, I guess in Morocco, BD number 71, regarding the question that was asked for the survey we had regarding assessing the different structures and habitat, we had a total of 63 MOs responded. I also remember the exact number, but it's 78.
Okay, Tara.
I guess this linear number 6, I must disagree with the previous speaker regarding that this would not be an issue, that responsiveness of MOs would not be an issue. I was also on Europe team, and there are MOs that have not responded to any of our emails throughout the term at all. So we don't know if they're reading them, we don't know if they're seeing them, we don't know if they're acting on social media. So it is a concern that needs to be taken into account.
Okay.
Thank you, I will say Germany bidding number 85, 500 information. Since this amendment has not been voted on, can we still change it without amending it again? Or do we have to amend the amendment now, even though it's not been voted on?
Yes, because the motion is now on the floor to amend this. So if you want to change it, you need to amend the amendment. But that is the last thing I think you can do. You can amend the amendment to amendment. So,
Ishan Chaya, India, building number 38. I would also like to point out that 2 months before the SGA is a period of high workload for the MOD. That is, of course, depending on what happens, what gets decided about the SGA. But in case it does happen offline, the MOD will have to be sending out, the receipts of all the participants, coordinating with the organizing committee of the SGA, who already has less time. So I think we should be respectful for the new MOD to do their work as per their, their capability, and we should leave it up to the MOD instead of making it about this.
Zassedi, I guess in Morocco, BD number 71. When we are talking about the workload, I personally think that the workload is even bigger when we are approaching the special general assembly because there is the whole preparations for the GA. And I personally think that having this deadline would actually be good even workload-wise for the team of officials, because then it needs to be done so that afterwards they can focus on the special general assembly. And regarding the point that was raised about the MOs not being responsive, I think we have more than half a term to work on this. So in my own opinion, I think that we can we will be able to get responses by then, because from, for example, the surveys we had, we were able to do so. We just need to proper way to communicate with MOs and get them be responsive, no matter what, whether they want to actually request it or not.
Okay. Susan, oh, sorry, Peter was first.
Peter Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, building number 16. I would like to know the president-elect's, I think, Felix's opinion on this amendment to point number 1 regarding the at least 2 months prior to the special general assembly. Is that, can I request this?
Which one is your opinion? Yeah, what is your, the question is, what is your opinion on having this specified at least 2 months prior to the special general assembly?
I don't know whether this is doable, honestly. Cannot ask something. One thing is expo opinion and trust opinion. I don't know what it is, I'll need to check.
Yeah, we are going to do parliamentary inquiry just to check if this is fine, and then we will get back to you. Okay, am I audible? Oh, you want me to summarize what has been said? So, it was being asked right now, just this part.
In general.
Okay, in general, we have been, I will go just to the last amendment, which is adding at least 2 months prior to the special general assembly. It has been discussed that from one side, it has been thought that it would be better to have specified until what point does this extraordinary general assembly needs to take place. Because first of all, to set some kind of a time limit, second of all, to think about the workload of the officials. However, it is also argued on the other side that setting this specific timeline would cause higher workload for the officials, especially for MOE at that term. And then on top of that, we do not know if some extraordinary things might have happened, and therefore this cannot be respected. And then also it has been discussed about the reachability and reachability of member organizations, because we need at least 2/3 of the active MOs to request this session, and there have been some concerns raised by different delegates that it has been, who have worked in different regions their term as the team member, they have struggles with contacting member organizations. So this is basically what has been now discussing. Hajar.
Just IVSA Morocco, meeting number 71. I would just like to remind everyone that prior to GA, the team of officials need to send their final amendments and everything 30 days before the GA. So this means that if during the extraordinary session there is a decision to move forward with amending bylaws and then sending them for the special general assembly to approve them there, they need to do it at least 30 days before the special general assembly. So this is to work on it actually. I don't know if this is clear for everyone, but if there are some questions, if there are some concerns, they can.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to add at least 2 months prior to the special general assembly. Is there any more discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, we have amended it like this, so it looks like this right now. And we are back to discussing just the first paragraph. Is there any more discussion regarding the first paragraph? Vicky?
Because I was in Germany, building number 85. Sorry if this is a little too late, but since we are still waiting on the parliamentarian to tell us if it's okay to relate his opinion on it, wasn't it out of order to do the voting yet?
Susanna?
Sono Salvatore IVSA, building number 90. So, in the bylaws, it's not clearly stated whether, it can be done or cannot be done, like ask for a specific EXCO opinion. So we are, since it's not in our bylaws, we are referring to the Robert's Rules of Order. And they clearly state that you cannot, delegates cannot address directly one specific person. Therefore, I think that asking for someone's opinion is not just putting the other person in the position of having to reply something that maybe they don't want to share, but it's also against the Robert's Rule of Order.
Thank you, Susanna. We are back at the beginning. So we are discussing the first paragraph, which now, after the amendments, looks like this. So we added starting from September to give more time. We added that an online extraordinary session of the General Assembly needs to be at least 2 months. Part of the reason is the bylaw amendments before mentioned by one of the previous speakers prior to the Special General Assembly 2025, and the reason for it is that it has been taught that the timeline for it to be done until symposium in Morocco is not doable and would put too much workload on the pressure on the newly elected officials, so that's why we brought on there. And that's the only amendment that we made right now. So we're continuing the discussion. If there is nothing more you would like to add to this part, we can. Okay.
All in favor, check. You don't need to vote, it's a motion. Okay, I'm not wrong with that.
Okay, so we are correct. Just to explain to everybody, in each specific paragraph, but then we are voting on the whole resolution at the end. Okay. Moving on to the second paragraph, which is.
As I said, IVSA Morocco, BD number 71. So the second point treats the topic that will be discussed during the extraordinary General Assembly. And in here we mentioned revised online proposal, evaluation guidelines, online events guidelines, and EIT bylaws. And of course, this will be the resolution to be proposed according to the GA decision on the topic of the adoption of the online proposal. The reason for adding revised means that there will be more work done on the online proposal. It will not be presented again as it was presented here. So all the different opinions that were treated during the GA, all the concerns that were raised, everything will be addressed in the revised version of the online proposal, as well as evaluation guidelines and all the other related documents.
Discussion. Okay, yeah.
Professor, I say that it's question number 36. Point of information, will there be a P break soon?
No.
Then point of personal privilege, I need to use the bathroom.
You can go. Peter.
Peter Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, meeting number 16. I don't know how to address this, but I do propose that we, similar to yesterday's date, that for the rest of this GA, when a person privileged to go to the bathroom does not need to be stated such that it does not disturb this debate.
That is not a motion. We as the chair is not up for it. Why? Because we are discussing something that we are all voting on. We're not just listening to something. So I do think it's important to have people present here. And if you're just going out and in and we're losing quorum or whatever, and in the end you made an uninformed decision, that is a problem. So I would rather you ask for point of privilege. Okay, so Tara.
IVSA Slovenia number 6, just a question, so a GA resolution would be proposed then during the special general assembly or during the extraordinary session?
As I stated, IVSA Morocco, with the 71, we need to have a resolution in the extraordinary general assembly.
Corina. Kubanavadna, I was in Germany, bidding number 9. As there were already raised concerns by previous speakers, just discussing the online proposal and as also during the online proposal discussion, other structures were mentioned. I think it would be good like to not only include the online proposal in the discussion of the extraordinary general assembly, but also other event structures. Like when I'm informed that we approve the SBC, so we can have the events task force, because I think it may be too much work for the DIT to do both. That's why I moved to amend the second paragraph and add after bylaws and other possible event structures prepared by the event strategy task force, and strike out in the end after topic the adoption of the online proposal. Bylaws, and other possible event structures prepared by the event strategy task force. Structures, not strategy.
I think honestly this is out of order because event strategy task force does not exist.
Maybe proposed by the new creative, the board.
It needs to be created by the expo and they need to vote on it. Like we cannot. Maybe if you want to go to events inclusivity task force.
Then can we just put it out then, like don't mention by who, and then strike out in the end. In the end, strike out after the topic, so just the topic or without of the adoption of the proposal. I think.
Is that it? Is that it? I'm just checking. Okay. So the motion on the floor is to, after EIT bylaws, add and other possible event structures, and strike out a GA resolution shall be proposed according to the GA. Strike out the topic of the adoption of the online proposal. So the sentence says a GA resolution shall be proposed according to the GA decision. Okay. Any discussion regarding this? Michelle.
Michelle Bannerman, IVSA USA. Bidding number 45. I have a question. This amendment that has been proposed, would this essentially rescind the resolution that was made in Bali to focus on online event structure? And if so, is that allowed?
As I stated, IVSA Morocco, bidding number 71, I don't think it's really rescind the resolution made in Bali, because what was stated there is that the task force will focus on the online proposal and propose it in Peru. So now we are talking about after the Congress in Peru. So I don't think it's actually rescinding the previous resolution we had.
Tessa?
So then I just Exco meeting number 27, or you need to go to the toilet after the graduation?
Tara?
Tara, this is Lumia number 6, just a friendly amendment. So after online event guidelines, maybe you can do a comma, strike out and.
Just to explain, friendly amendments, we do not need to vote on them because they're not changing the meaning of it. They're just friendly, meaning making it better, so. Ishan.
I have 2 points of information to ask. Can I ask them together? Yeah. Okay. So firstly, what time will our break be? And second, the lunch break. What time will our lunch break be? And secondly, when will we be allowed to voice our comments and concerns on the document as a whole? Since we are going paragraph wise, and my opinion was correctly rejected as a report.
So the break will be, the idea is that after this point, we will table the resolution because there is much discussion and we need to go to lunch. And I do think you want to see election results. And the second question I think can be answered by Jack.
Anastasia, IVSA Morocco, meeting number 71. So the point of considering by paragraph is we are discussion and like every section by paragraph, so it's easier to amend and make necessary changes. However, once we are done, we will need to approve the whole resolution. And at this point, if there is still some concerns about something that was not treated like when we were doing it by paragraphs, it can be added. But the point is to try to do whatever amendments we feel like doing right now, so that we are moving to make the changes in the whole resolution. We don't need a lot of time to do it. So maybe if it's adding another point or just making some extra changes.
Okay. Ishan?
Ishan Charya, IVSA India, building number 38. The reason I asked this is because if we are against this resolution as a whole and we want to voice our concerns about it, instead of amendments, would we be given time to give our opinion on the resolution as a whole later after the discussion?
Yes. Suzanne?
Sono Salvatore Viesecco, meeting number 90. I move to amend the amendment so that it stays on the topic of the adoption of the new event structure.
I need to undo this. No.
No, not there, at the end, exactly.
Yeah, but I cannot undo this.
No, you write it all again, because so we see that there's another amendment.
I need somebody to second this. Just right now. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to amend the amendment so that it says the amendment of the amendment is, the motion on the floor is to amend the amendment by adding back on the topic of the adoption of the and adding new event structure so that it looks like this. Is there any discussion regarding this amendment? Any objection? Seeing none, so this amendment is accepted, and now we're going back to the original amendment, which is to add and other possible event structures, and a GA resolution shall be proposed according to the GA decision adopting the adoption of the new event structure. So we are discussing this amendment. Is there any more discussion on this part? Jacopo.
Jacopo Filippini, IVSA daily meeting number 34. Honestly, I don't get the meaning of this amendment yet. So I'm asking if it's possible, like, doing a clarification on this amendment, please.
Okay, so why is, what would be the change made by this amendment is that, it's not we are not only focusing in the future on the online proposal, but we are taking into consideration other options. And then the last part is just made up so that it makes sense basically, because it was talking only about the online proposal, then it was struck out, and then one of the delegates requested that we have the GA resolution will be proposed based on a GA decision on the topic of the adoption of the new event structure, whichever way GA decides to go. So it can be online, it can be hybrid, it can be live, it can be anything. I hope that explains it. Okay, any objection? Seeing none, so this has been amended. So now the motion has passed and it looks like this. We are still discussing point 2. Is there any discussion regarding point 2, or are you happy now with how it looks? Okay, so yes, Susan. The chair would like to entertain a motion to postpone this topic until tomorrow. Ishan, you can do it. You have to.
Ishachana recently abandoned.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Any objection? Yes, Karina.
I'm sorry, do I get it right, that the whole discussion from, when I IVSA Germany meeting number 9, do I get it right, that like the whole discussion, like from this ended after 20? Okay. My objection is that, it would make sense. I object.
Okay, we are moving to a vote for this. Okay, we are going to a card raising vote. So everybody who wants to postpone this discussion for tomorrow, you're raising the green card. And if you don't want to, if you want to continue discussing it, you're raising the red card. Okay. I'm adding more information, which is that the committee workshops start in 40 minutes. Just so you know. That is the reason you want to postpone it. Red if you don't want to. If you want to continue discussing it, you raise the red card. If you want to go postpone it, listen to election results and go to lunch, green. I will now ask you guys to raise the cards. Raise. Wait, we're still waiting for 2 countries. Okay. And then. Okay, the motion has passed and we are postponing the topic. I would like to remind you all that, just because we have some other things. A reminder is that for all the major concerns and things, I would definitely ask you to approach Hajar regarding it, because a lot of the things that are discussed right now could have been done prior to the GA, and we wouldn't have such an extensive discussions going in circles. And now we are going to the next topic on the agenda, which is election results, and that is on Felix. Sorry.
Felix Metzger, IVSA Exco, bidding number 47. Yes, we have the election results of today. Alright, let's do it. First, the DAD position. So these are the voting results. So that means John IVSA Ghana is the new DAD of the IVSA. Since there was no other nominee than Sushan for CC, Sushan Arya from IVSA Nepal is the new committee coordinator of IVSA. Since there was no other nominee, Tommy Negron, IVSA Peru is the new MOD of IVSA. Then here are the voting results for Secretary General. So that means Upendra Chauhan, IVSA Nepal is the new Secretary General of IVSA. The Public Relations Coordinator, these are the voting results. So that means Lorena Maria Montenegro, IVSA Romania is the new PRC of IVSA. Next, External Relations Officer, here are the voting results. So that means Nicolita is the new PRO of IVSA. Here are the voting results for Treasurer. So that means Stavros Papatriotis, IVSA Germany is the new Treasurer of IVSA. For the Standing Committee on Animal Welfare, these are the voting results. So that means Titilayo Ayodele, IVSA Nigeria is the new chair of the Standing Committee on Animal Welfare. Since there were no other nominees, Sanskar Tioka, IVSA India is the new chair of the scorecard team. For the Standing Committee on One Health, these are the voting results. So that means Nadia Vasimin, IVSA Indonesia is the new chair of the Standing Committee on One Health. Here are the voting results for the Standing Committee on Wellness. So that means Sanaya Keaton, IVSA Indonesia is the new chair of the Standing Committee on Wellness. Here are the voting results of the Standing Committee on Veterinary Education. So that means Daniel David, IVSA Nigeria is the new chair of the Standing Committee. Since there were no other nominees, Violet Adeline Wearbus is the new chair of the Pathology Network. Since there were no other nominees, Ishan Ashai is the new chair of the Wild and Exotics Network. Since there were no other nominees, Jerry Hope Lutzi is the new chair of the Alumni Network. Here are the voting results for the Secretariat. I hope
Just the next one.
Okay, so I will read it out. Okay. I will show you the results, the next slides of the winners of the secretary position. So first we have the record discount and we have Pyongyang and South Korea and South Korea. We have Soviet we have Sylvain and Taiwan and Mario Canadian Accent and Poland. We have Shira and Taiwan and Kanya as the Ghana from Greece. And then we have Marina Mohammed from Nigeria and Ulas Kadesh from India. Then since Since the Anonymous is Grupo IVSA Peru is the new regional rep of the Americas. Here are the voting results in the Asian regional rep. So that means Arico, IVSA China is the new regional rep of Asia. Since there are no minorities, Ali Mashid from IVSA Egypt is the new regional rep of MENA. Since there are no minorities, Ali Mashid is the regional rep of Egypt. Sorry. Okay. Then here are the voting results for trust. So that means the first to trust Susanna Czekaj, IVSA Exco, and Tessa Van Dunen, IVSA Exco. These are the election results.
Okay, so as promised, the chair will now entertain the motion, but do not run away because there is some important announcements that we are having. The chair will now entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting until tomorrow. Peter.
Peter Pedersen, IVSA Denmark, meeting number 16, I so move.
Motion on the 15th. Is there any discussion? Any objection? The meeting has been adjourned. I have a few announcements and then I know that Amy will have some. First one is regarding the food, vegan and vegetarian food. Please be mindful because we've heard that a lot of times people who do not eat meat do not have food because people who do eat meat take both theirs and their own. So does that make sense? Yes. Please be mindful, please. At least